come forth from Montgomery Public Schools.
Good morning, everybody. It's a quiet room today. First, I want to say thank you to our Montgomery County Commissioners for the opportunity to host this and to demonstrate their support for the work we're doing in both of our districts here and in Pike Road. That type of support is invaluable in terms of how we go about doing the things necessary for our kids to be successful. I also have a bit of a disclaimer to share as well. So before continuing, I'm going to read this verbatim. I want to be clear that the purpose of my remarks and of this event are not to be construed as advocacy on a specific position. The goal today is simply to encourage participation in and to present factual information related to the March 5th referendum on renewal and continuation of our countywide school tax. That has to be emphasized. I am not advocating a position today, just providing information. First of all, how this impacts us as a school district in Montgomery County as a whole, and specifically for MPS, I think it's important to emphasize that this is not a new tax. This has been supporting our districts for the last almost 40 years, so this is not new. I need to stress that and separate it from the ad valorem that we passed a couple of years ago that we just started receiving funds for in October of 23. Again, this is not a new tax. This supports both of our school districts' general funds. It's an estimated $11 million for Montgomery Public Schools and about $1.2 million for Pike Road Schools. Those funds are essential to the types of services and provisions that we provide for our kids, so it's important that we can know what that really means. Resources provided by this tax include but are not limited to operational costs associated with each of our school districts, classroom instructional resources, professional development for teachers and staff, extracurricular activities, athletics, and much, much more. So as you can imagine, any decline, if you will, of the types of funds we get will have some devastating effects to our districts. If it is not renewed, we will have to make some hard decisions about what may need to be reduced, including the numbers of resources that students and staff use on a regular basis due to that decreased funding. And again, that would only happen if this is not renewed. But it's important we understand that this is not a new tax. You're going to hear me say that. You'll hear Dr. Langford say that over and over again. And if you get tired of hearing that, that means we've actually accomplished our goal. This is not a new tax. We've had this for nearly 40 years. And that support is essential for the work that we continue to do in both of our districts. So we would appreciate you understanding that, getting out on March 5th to demonstrate your advocacy for whatever position you'd like to take, and understanding what this truly means. So we really wanted to have this opportunity to stress that this is not a new tax. I'll let Dr. Langford come to the panel to share his thoughts in reference to Pike Road. And at some point, we'll have our CSFOs up here as well, and potentially entertain any potential questions there might be.
I want to also thank the Commission for their support in this tax renewal, as well as our partners at Montgomery Public Schools. I also want to echo what Dr. Brown stated earlier, that this is not a new tax. This is not something that is being initiated. It is not something that, is going to add any type of monetary increase to your taxes. This is a renewal of an existing property tax that has been on our books and last renewed 20 years ago. So how it affects Pike Road, when we're looking at this 3.5 mills, it equates to, like Dr. Brown said, $1.2 million. The loss of that for Pike Road Schools would be absolutely devastating. From the inception of Pike Road just over 10 years ago until now, that 3.5 mills has been used to participate in the state foundation program, which if you don't understand the foundation program, let me briefly express that. We pay a little to get a lot. The state provides us the salaries, the benefits for our teachers, our principals, our librarians, our counselors, as well as other key expenses that it takes to operate a school system. Keep in mind, this is a foundation, a baseline. If we were to lose this 3.5 mills, we would then have to go into local sales tax that is provided by Montgomery County and pull that to substitute or fill the gap. We currently use that sales tax to provide additional teaching units, locally funded units, on top of that foundation. It also provides, like Dr. Brown was saying from Montgomery, it also provides other programs and activities that are essential to our community, but are not deemed essential to education. We always want to provide that for our kids because, again, we think that that continues to groom, blossom, and create, our students into the leaders that we want in the future. But I want to, again, reiterate, we will not be increasing any taxes. No resident of Pike Road nor of Montgomery will see an increase in their taxes. But this will have a long-lasting effect on the quality of the education that we are able to provide. So again, we encourage you to get out and vote. Advocate for whichever way you see fit. But again, we wanted you to know how these tax dollars are used in Pike Road Schools. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I too want to thank the County Commission for hosting this event. From a fiscal standpoint, we want to continue to support the educational initiatives that Dr. Brown and our senior staff have put in place. We have come a long ways and are doing some amazing things for our children. If the support of our children does not continue, there's no doubt that we will see cuts in operations. There's no doubt that we will see cuts in staffing. There's no doubt that we will see cuts in extracurricular activities. There is no doubt that we'll see cuts in some of our instructional programming. And we know that our children need and they deserve these supports. Our children need, again, these particular supports. And I also want to say one other thing. At the time that ESSER funds, and these are state, federal dollars that was injected into our school district related to COVID, those dollars goes away September 30th of 2024. It would be devastating for us to lose the support of these tax dollars at the same time that these federal COVID dollars will go away. So again, I encourage everyone, let's do what is needed for the support of our children. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I thank the Commission for having us here and giving us this opportunity to speak before our stakeholders. Again, we are not advocating, we're providing factual data. This 3.5 mil tax generates $1.2 million for Pike Road Schools. As previously said, this is not a new tax. This is a tax renewal, a tax that has been in place for 40 years. What our tax holders they will pay no more, not 1 penny more than they pay now if this is renewed. However, if it's not renewed, it will have a detrimental impact on the quality of our schools, Pike Road and MPS. Without these funds, as Dr. Lankford stated, we would have to utilize our sales tax revenues that we receive through Montgomery County. We currently use our sales tax to provide additional basic operations, to update our facilities, provide additional maintenance of our facilities, and security, as well as programs and supports needed to enhance our education. These programs, we offer one-to-one device initiatives, STEM, fine arts, and we have a robust academic program, athletic program, all of which are capable because of our sales tax that we receive. Without these funds, the 3.5 mils, we would then have to shift what we spend the sales tax on, and we would no longer be able to provide some of these programs. Transportation is another large expense for our districts. City school districts do not have to provide transportation. So this would be a consideration for Pike Road Schools if this 3.5 mil tax were to be non-renewed. The state only funds 78% of transportation operations, so there's a large gap there to fill. All of these expenses add up quickly for a school district. So to give you an idea of what the non-renewal would save you as a household income, as a household savings, you would save roughly less than $6 on a property value of $200,000. For a property value of $500,000, you would save less than $15 a month. For a property value of $1 million, you would save less than $30 a month. So I leave you with this question. Is the monthly household savings of less than $30 a month worth, in terms of Pike Road, $1.2 million cut in the quality of education currently provided to our children? Thank you.
Quite a picture we're trying to paint to make sure people understand exactly what the implications might be. At this time, if there are any questions we might be able to entertain, we can try to get some answers to those if they exist. If not, we won't be shy about not entertaining questions. My kind of crowd.
Mine too.
All right. So to conclude where we are today, we want to make sure, once again, we're going to restate what I said at the beginning. The purpose of my remarks, Dr. Langford's remarks, all those assembled here, and of this event are not to be construed as advocacy on a specific position. The goal today was simply to encourage participation in and present factual information related to the March 5th referendum on renewal and continuation of the countywide school tax. It's important we emphasize that. We are not advocating for any positions, but we want to make sure you have accurate information. I'm going to say it again. This is not a new tax. This will not be an increase to your tax because this is not a new tax. We want to thank you for your attention. Hopefully other questions may come up at some time down the road. Always feel free to reach out to our districts to figure out if there are any questions that may come to the forefront that you may be interested in having addressed, and we'll be happy to entertain those. Thank you again, and we'll wish everybody a wonderful day.
Montgomery County school leaders speaking about a tax renewal will be up for a vote coming up on March the 5th. It was first passed 40 years ago, so this is the second time voters will have a chance to decide if they want to pass it. The 3.5 mil tax, again, already being paid for by residents. Both school superintendents stressed several times, first of all, they're not advocating which way you should vote, but simply letting folks know this is not a new tax. They said it over and over again. This is not a new tax. Folks have been paying for this in Montgomery County for about the last 40 years. They did talk about some of the reasons why it's important. Montgomery County Superintendent Dr. Melvin Brown said this pays for things like operational costs, professional development, extracurricular activities, and more. In Pike Road, they talked about this being, if you have a $500,000 home, basically it costs you about $15 per month, every month about $15, and that's money that you're already paying. This accounts for about $1.2 million for the Pike Road school system each year, and without that money that they're using right now, they say they would have to dip into sales tax money to fill in those gaps, and that means that money would have to come from somewhere else. The other things the sales tax money is being used for. Again, the vote is March the 5th. Again, we're talking about a property tax renewal. It was first passed 20 years ago. It's been going on for almost 40 years. It's a 3.5 mil tax that residents are already paying. Superintendents from both Pike Road and Montgomery City Schools not advocating which way you should vote, but just talking about how important it is and how much that money is needed and used for school systems in Montgomery County. It's a story we'll continue to follow. We'll have much more later on today on WSFA 12 News at noon. That will do it for now. I'm Jed Davis in the WSFA CTV studio.